Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Startup Sense podcast. This is your host, Jonah Lupton. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, if you have any feedback for me or thoughts about the show, feel free to email me at jonahlupton@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, anywhere. I'm all over the place. Today's guest is Connor Gillivan. He is the co-founder of a company called FreeeUp. He's also the CMO. The website is freeup.com, and that's with three E's in there. So FREEEUP.com. So Connor is a e-commerce entrepreneur. He has scaled several companies to seven figures in revenue, mostly from Amazon. So in his intro, he talks about scaling his first company out of his dorm room to more than $20 million in sales on Amazon. And he's now building his second company to a multi-million-dollar online hiring platform. So we'll talk more about that in a second. But I'm certainly excited to kind of tap into his knowledge when it comes to Amazon. I feel like every time I turn on the TV, there's some news about Amazon acquiring someone or putting someone out of business. I mean, it does seem like all the e-commerce business these days is going through Amazon. They are becoming a giant, whether we like it or not. So, and yesterday was actually Prime Day, so the timing here is kind of perfect. But let's welcome Connor to the show, learn more for him. Connor, how are you, man?
Awesome. Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, Jonah. I appreciate it.
Got it, man. Thanks for joining us. You're down in Orlando, Florida?
Yep, that's right. I've been down here for about 4 years now. It's a great spot.
You live down there year round?
Yep, year round. It's pretty hot here right now in the summer. It gets a little hot and humid, so it's almost like the winter down here right now. But the fall, winter, and spring are great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about spending some winters down there. Not sure I could handle the summers though. So kudos to you. I'm sure you're probably inside in the AC most of the time.
Exactly. You're like when it's snowing up north, you're kind of staying inside, trying to avoid the outside.
Yep, you got all those snowbirds that come down there. So talk to us about, I mentioned in the intro, you say this on your website, freeup.com. You talk about building one of your first businesses from your dorm room to $20 million in sales. So take us through that. What was the name of the company, and what did it do? What did you sell, and how the hell did you get to $20 million in sales?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into entrepreneurship while I was in college just by running into the business partner that I actually continue to work with today. His name's Nathan Hirsch. He does a lot of podcasts and talks about our story a lot as well. But we were actually just sitting in the same business law class one day, and we had known each other a little bit, but he actually just messaged me on AIM, the old AOL AIM,
Oh yeah.
and and he said, I've heard you've been interested in entrepreneurship and starting a business. I'm looking to start to sell books on Amazon. I came up with this idea. Would you be interested in helping me out? So it was always something I was looking to get into, and so of course I took him up on the offer. And so when the business first started, and the name of the business was Portlight, the way that it started was we saw it from ourselves, but we saw a lot of students purchasing textbooks from the bookstore, and then at the end of the semester they were getting ripped off. So they maybe had bought it for $250, and then the bookstore was offering them $10 at the end of the semester because a new edition was coming out the next year. And so what we started doing was we were competing with the bookstore. We were offering students slightly higher prices, making sure that we can make a little bit of money by selling it on Amazon, and then buying the books, storing them in our dorm rooms, listing them on Amazon, and shipping them out to the customer as we receive the sales. So this is
Gotcha.
A little bit of how we first got into Amazon, but we didn't love that process of holding the books and having to pick, pack, and ship them. It's just a laborious process that took a lot of time and could lead to issues very easily with human error. And so it was about a year into the business that we started to look into drop shipping, which is that ability to sell products that you're never necessarily touching. And so we did our research and we started to reach out to some suppliers around the United States, specifically within the toys and baby categories. These were two areas of the Amazon marketplace that were starting to blow up. There were a lot of sellers going into it. Amazon was putting more money behind it. And so we tried to kind of follow into those niches. And that was where we started to create our first dropship supplier relationships and start to sell those types of products as well. Over the next over the next 2 or 3 years, that was really when we really started to ramp up into, that getting to that 20 million, that cumulative of $20 million sold. And we just expanded into every category as Amazon did as well. And we just started creating more and more dropship relationships. So at the peak of the business, we were managing over 500,000 products on our store, and we're working with around 1,000 dropship suppliers. And we had a whole dev team that was creating software to make it easier for us to manage all of this inventory and all of this pricing. And we had a full team of around 30 freelancers that were also helping us just to run daily operations. So that's kind of the story in a nutshell. Obviously, there were a lot of ups and downs within that, as there is with any business, but I think that's a good intro to give the listeners an understanding of what happened there.
So you say 500,000 products?
Yeah, that was our active listing count at a certain point
crazy.
Through our Amazon store.
How many different drop shippers were you guys working with at that point?
It was around 1,000, and we were working with both manufacturers, so just people that were making their own products, and then we were also working with distributors to get access to some larger brands that they didn't work directly with sellers just by themselves, but you could access their brand through distributors.
And did you guys so you didn't have your own warehouse or any of that stuff, right? You guys weren't touching any product.
Correct. Yep. So we just had relationships with these guys who had their own warehouses and who could send products out to our customers on a one-by-one basis as we received sales.
Now, were you guys able to do any marketing, or did you have to rely on the organic search results of Amazon and whatever algorithms they use, which probably includes, product ratings and, the store ratings and all this other stuff that we're not really sure about?
Yeah, for sure. So that was something that we never got into really was marketing with this business because of how much Amazon did for us. But one way that we were able to manipulate the system a bit was through their buy box algorithm. And so this is how they determine who's going to be the person that when someone comes to the site and let's say they're searching for a water bottle, they find the one they want, they go to the product page. If they just go ahead and click add to cart, there's someone at any time of the day that's owning that buy box button. And so you want to be in that as much as possible because I think it's somewhere, over 50% of sales are coming through that button. And so we worked with a couple companies that helped us to constantly reprice our products on an hourly basis so that we were trying to get into that top spot. And of course, a lot of things go into it other than price, like your customer ratings, your feedback count, the amount of time you've been on the marketplace, and a lot of other factors. So that was a big way that we kind of like snuck in and were able to optimize sales.
So what were your margins at the end of the day? Because I know Amazon's taking a piece, drop shippers are taking a piece, you're buying probably at wholesale prices. At the end of the day, what were you guys actually netting, you think?
So our gross, like after cost of goods sold and the Amazon fees and shipping, was around 25 to 30%. Kind of floated between there. And then net profits after we paid off our payroll and the other expenses that we had was probably between 10 and 15, depending on how we were spending our money.
Okay. I mean, and there's nowhere in there where you really could have eked out more profit, is there? I mean, you have those fixed costs. I mean, it's like you can't get around the pay, the Amazon fees or the drop shipper. So, I mean, that's 10 to 15 is probably as good as you can do, right? When you're selling primarily through Amazon or doing a drop ship business.
Yeah, so it's a combination of the drop ship and the Amazon. So with drop shipping, because you're putting that burden on them of pick, pack, and shipping each product, they tend to negotiate lower rates or your wholesale pricing. Whereas if you were just going to go to a supplier and purchase 500 units and then store it yourself and ship it, you're going to get much better pricing in that type of relationship. So when we were getting bigger, we would try to negotiate our wholesale pricing from these suppliers, but there was only so far you could go with them.
So what is that business doing these days? I know you've scaled back some of your product offerings. Sounds like you're probably working with some less drop shippers. What have you just decided to shrink the business so you guys can work on some other things?
Yep, exactly. So my business partners and I, we made the decision that we wanted to scale back operations a bit, and we really wanted to focus in on the products and the suppliers that were selling the best for us and that were the easiest to work with. So we wanted to work with the people that really understood how we communicated, how we needed to get inventory, how we wanted to have orders sent out to our customers. And so we've scaled it back to, I think we're around, maybe 10 to 20 suppliers now that we're working with. We're managing around 5,000 products on our store, but we're still doing good business and good volume because we're working with those suppliers that we know sell well and that work well with us.
So what advice would you have for another entrepreneur looking to sell on Amazon? Maybe it's not necessarily a pure drop ship business, but they
hmm
understand that Amazon is going to be a huge, feeder of new customers for them. Any tips or
Yep.
hacks that you can share with us?
Absolutely. So there's a few things to keep an eye out for. One that's really important when you're selling on the Amazon marketplace, and this has become even more important over the past 2 or 3 years, is just making sure that you have agreements with these suppliers to actually sell their brands and market their products. So a big crackdown that Amazon has been having with their sellers is people not necessarily having authorization to sell a certain brand or a certain product. So just an example so people can understand. Let's say I found a hot selling product that I could purchase from Walmart. I would go to Walmart, purchase some of these, listed on Amazon, and still be able to make a profit because of how cheap I was able to get it. And maybe the brand was Hasbro or one of these bigger brands. Technically, you don't have permission from that brand to sell it there. So that can be a big issue for Amazon and can lead to you being kicked off the marketplace. So,
Right.
number one advice, make sure you have that permission, make sure you have a good relationship with the supplier. A second thing, and this is kind of going into when you're starting to sell and you're looking for products that might be good for you to get started with, you want to look into the inventory of Amazon and you want to go into the actual listing. So, if you're looking to sell toys and you're going to go in and look at things, certain product listings, you want to see how many other people are selling on those listings. So, if there's 100 people trying to sell the same product, it's going to be a lot more harder for you to get in there and take some sales away. But if you go to a listing and you find that maybe only 5 to 10 people are there and some of them don't have the best of ratings, there's an opportunity for you to sneak in there and start to get good sales. The other thing you want to look at, when you're in those listings is Amazon has a whole product catalog ranking. So you can see how popular certain products are within Amazon's product catalog. And when it's when the ranking is much lower, that indicates that it's going to be selling more, it's going to be seen more, there's going to be a lot of traffic going to those pages. So that could be a good way to try to find good products as well.
Is there still opportunity left on Amazon? I mean, they're now a $450 billion company. I know that's the market cap. I mean, I don't know what their actual revenues are and how many products are on there, but it just seems like, the other day I went on and I needed to buy some audio equipment for my new company. And,
hmm
I type in sound meter and you get hundreds, if not thousands of results. And it's like, oh God, I'd hate to be someone trying to jump in, with a new product and try to compete against those established companies. Is it too
hmm
late or is there still opportunity?
I think there's still opportunity. I think it's going to be a lot harder than it was, let's say, 10 years ago to get in and really build an established business with it. But I am a proponent that there is still opportunity if you can do it right and you can set it up to the point where you have good products that are in non or less competitive places. You can find a good niche and a good piece of the Amazon marketplace that you could make good money still.
Okay. Now talk about your new company, FreeeUp. What exactly is this all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So my business partner and I, like I said, we built a team of about 30 freelancers while we were scaling Portlight. And what we found in that process was that the situation was always the same, right? So we would go to freelancer.com, we would go to upwork.com, we would go to odesk.com, which has been acquired by Upwork. And we would put a job listing up, we would get applicants, we would go ahead and talk to them, interview them, and we would try to make the best hire that we could. But at the end of the day, we either made a good hire or a bad hire. When we made a good hire, it worked out, but there was always the chance that person could leave. And then when we made a bad hire, we ended up wasting a lot of time and money in the process. And so we just kept finding ourselves back at stage one, very frustrated. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a new marketplace where all of the freelancers were vetted before they actually got into the network and became available to clients. And so that's what FreeeUp is. At FreeeUp, we receive hundreds of freelancer applications every week. We put them through our own unique interview process that we created from our years of hiring. And then we also put them through a test on 15 pages of communication guidelines to make sure that they know how to communicate and talk with our clients and that they're going to give them a good experience. Once the person actually makes it into the network, we make them available from $5 to $50 per hour. And we have around 50 plus skill sets now that we offer across e-commerce businesses, digital marketing, and also web development and web design. So our clients really love us because they can come to us at any point. They can fill out our simple form, tell us who they need, and we'll introduce them to someone in the network within usually 24 hours, and they can get started working right away. The other reason they love us is because if they have a bad experience or they have a problem, we have a great customer service team that's on the clock 24/7. They can talk to us. We'll help them figure it out and make sure that their hiring is a good thing.
Okay, so this is, I wish I'd interviewed you a week ago because I literally just ran into this exact same problem. I was looking for a graphic designer to create a logo for me. So I go and post on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, hey, can anyone refer a logo person? And of course, I got over 100 responses. And it's like, they're tagging people, but then I had to search around and try to, I either have to, reply to the public post or send a private message to them, and then try to find their website and look at their work and oh my God, then to get pricing and availability, or I just come to FreeeUp and use your pre-vetted graphic designers in this case, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, so we have graphic designers. You would go ahead and create an account, which is free. There's no fees or anything. You create an account. We have what we call a worker request form. You tell us, I need a graphic designer. I want them to be based in the U.S., or you're okay with them being outside of the U.S. This is the range of the hourly rate that I'm comfortable paying. Here's the description of the project, and here's some other details that about this as well. That comes into our system. We go ahead and find the best person in the marketplace, introduce you to them via email and your account, and you can take 10 to 15 minutes to see if they're a good fit. If they are, hire them. If not, tell us, and we'll give you another person to talk to.
Nice. I literally just signed up for a free account. Took me about 10 seconds while you were talking. So you said how many freelancers do you guys have right now? About 100?
About 700 now.
Oh, 700. Oh my God. Okay. And
yeah, we've been building it up over the past. We've been at it for about 18 months now.
Okay. And then what's your process for reaching out to clients after work's been done and getting reviews or ratings or feedback on the freelancers that they hired?
Yeah, great question. So right now on the marketplace, we don't actually have a review or a rating system and profiles that a lot of these other online hiring sites do. So, on Upwork and these other places, you can go search and look at profiles of workers and see what their ratings have been. We don't have that yet, and that's kind of the thing that we wanted to take off the plate for business owners to have to go through. But we do have an internal kind of system where if a certain freelancer gets too many complaints about them, they're going to be red listed and not continue to be passed out to clients. Or if a freelancer just completely goes against the marketplace guidelines that we have them go through in the beginning, they can be removed from the marketplace as well.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, I would like to think that you guys are already pre-vetting these people, so there's probably a very limited amount of complaints or negative reviews.
Yes, for sure. And of course, it all depends on the business owner too. Every freelancer isn't going to work perfectly with every business owner, but that's why we kind of have the whole hands-on approach where if that person's not perfect, just let us know and we'll introduce you to someone else so we can find you that perfect freelancer.
So this is, like you said, this is an alternative to Upwork, to freelancer.com, to Fiverr, where you don't necessarily know what you're getting and you're looking to streamline the hiring process. That's the most frustrating part. Last week I went out to thumbtack.com to look for a videographer and I filled out the information and then I get, 8 phone calls and emails from different videographers and I have to jump into conversations and explain the project, and it just becomes very tedious just to find that one person. Like I just wish I could have someone tell me who that one person needs to be.
Exactly, and those are the problems that we went through as well. It's just extremely frustrating for us, and so yeah, we wanted to create a solution that made it really simple and really quick for business owners who are trying to scale their business quickly to hire smart people, top talent from around the world at a quick pace, but also know that they're reliable and they're going to do a good job.
And how do you guys make money?
Sure. So the way that we make money is we have a markup, so we charge. Let's say you're interested in hiring a graphic designer. We're going to tell you the price is $15. You pay $15. We then take 15% of that out, and then we pay the worker the remainder of it. So
Okay.
we make 15% with a $2 minimum on each hour worked by a freelancer.
Now, this is a bootstrap business, right? You guys haven't raised any outside capital.
Yep, that's correct. All bootstrap.
Why keep it bootstrapped? I mean, is there an opportunity to raise capital? Do you not want to deal with investors? Is it just the time not right?
Sure. So it is something that we're considering. We have in the past year we've spoken to a few investors. Some have reached out and just kind of were interested because they've seen us in different publications and kind of what we're up to. For the people that we have talked to so far, we're kind of like right behind their ideal level of investor companies. So we're thinking in the next year there's going to be more interest, and both my business partner and I are definitely open to it. But we have been profitable since early in the company, so we've been taking a lot of the money that we're making and putting it back into an internal team to continue to scale the network. So it's something we're open to, but it's not something that we're dying for either.
Gotcha. And then how do you and your co-founder split up the roles? It sounds like you're the CMO.
Yep, that's correct. So I handle all marketing, content, advertising strategies. I've built up a team of about 10, 15 people that are helping me with all aspects of getting the brand out there and getting the name out there for FreeeUp. And then my business partner is our CEO. Like I said, his name is Nathan Hirsch, and he handles most of working with our clients, talking to them, and he also manages our software, our internal web development team that creates all the software that runs FreeeUp. So we have very different skill sets, and that's always been a reason why we've worked so well together. And just from working with each other for a long time, there's a lot of trust there as well. So we both continue to push forward the company without really having to step on each other's toes.
Gotcha. Okay. So FreeeUp is your primary focus right now?
Yep, that's correct. It's where I spend most of my time on a daily basis.
Is your Amazon business, the profit from that, helping to fuel the growth here, or at least provide some of the capital needed?
It is not. They're separate. That one, the profits from FreeeUp are what's fueling FreeeUp. Profits from Portlight are being just dispersed between the founders.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what's been the hardest part about building FreeeUp? Is it finding the right freelancers? Is it doing the due diligence on them? Is it marketing, this company in a somewhat competitive space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think one of the most difficult things is definitely been finding our way into the business owner circles. So it's been something we've come up with different strategies over the past 2 years. But when we were first getting into it, a lot of what we were doing to get our way in and to start to explain to people what we were trying to do was we were starting to just offer our own consulting services and also courses on selling on Amazon. So at first it was really trying to break into these different groups of business owners because there's so many out there through social media and through other channels that we found to be very effective, but it was tough to get in there at first. So that's definitely a constant challenge for us. In terms of the freelancers, there's just so many out there that it's been pretty organic. A lot of people have found us and they like what we're doing, and we've brought in a lot of contractors very easily, but the constant struggle is just finding more and more clients and trying to get into different niches.
I mean, it is funny. We do live in a world now where, and maybe part of it was, started with Tim Ferriss's, 4-hour work week,
Mm-hmm.
Outsource as much as you can and outsource the stuff that you're not good at or you don't want to do. And so you can be more productive and focus on the things that you do want to do and that that you are good at, which I do, right? With my new company,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm outsourcing the bookkeeping. I'm outsourcing the content management. I'm outsourcing as much as I can because I hate doing all that stuff.
Yep.
like I see on your website, virtual assistants and all this other, like those are tasks that the average CEO or business owner should not be doing.
Hmm.
Pay someone 15, $20 an hour to do it for you. So you can focus on sales and the other stuff. So out of all these different, categories on the website, which one's been the most popular?
Yeah, of course. So something that's actually been really hot just lately, and a lot of businesses have been hiring for through us is actually Facebook ads. So I know they've been growing like crazy, Facebook ads. We use them for FreeeUp, and I think a lot of people within the e-commerce industry, which is a lot of our customers, are looking for ways to utilize it as well. So that's been a really hot skill set that a lot of businesses have been coming to us for. Another one that's pretty popular is bookkeeping. Like you had mentioned, that's something
Right.
that can take hours per week, and a business owner shouldn't necessarily be doing that, even if they're, maybe they're not even that great at it. So that's been a popular one for people just to add on to their team as well. Those are two of the most popular.
Yeah, I think this is a valuable resource because there's a lot of people out there. Like I'll use my sister as an example. She's a great uh, fashion designer. She started her own fashion company a year and a half ago. She has her own store. She wants to
Nice.
start selling online, but she doesn't know how to do any of this stuff. She doesn't know how to build
Yeah.
websites, Facebook ads. She doesn't know how to build funnels or PR or SEO or any of this stuff. It's so overwhelming to her. I can't sit there and do all of it for her for free either. So
Yep.
it's like, how do you plug into these services and know that you're getting an experienced person with a valid company, you guys standing behind them.
Hmm.
So when there is a problem, there's someone to go to, right? If I'm going to Upwork and hire, well, I mean, maybe Upwork's the same, but if I'm like, you know, hiring a friend of a friend of a friend through through Facebook,
Yep.
and they do a shitty job, like, what do I do? I mean, drive to Illinois and show up at their doorstep and ask my, probably not going to happen. So it is nice to have a company act as the middleman.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's something that me and my business owner, we love that aspect of it too. We love meeting other people that are trying to build their business, or are in a rut, or trying to figure out how to hire those next people. So we spend a lot of time just talking to business owners as well, and trying to give them advice on how they can best outsource parts of their business so they can stay focused on what they're best at. You said that earlier, and I think that's so important, is making sure that you do what you do best to grow your business, and trying to pass the rest off to someone else.
What have you learned in the last, when did you launch that Amazon company out of your dorm room? What year was that?
That was 2009.
Okay, so you've been an entrepreneur now for the better part of 8 years, would you say?
Yep.
What lessons can you share with us? Like, I mean, I'm sure you've made a million mistakes, just like every other entrepreneur has. I've probably made 2 million.
Yep.
But what have you learned that you can share with us that
Yep.
prevent us from getting into the same trouble or making the same mistakes?
Yeah, definitely. So just to kind of go off the pattern we've had here about hiring and building a team, one of the biggest things that I've learned is about diversification. So just to kind of break it down, right? If you're going to be building out a team, it's much smarter to break up the tasks that you have in your business, and let's say hire 5 people for 10 hours a week rather than hiring one person for 50 hours a week, because it diversifies the people and the dependents that you have on your team. So if you only had that one person, and for whatever reason they had to go and take another job, or they were sick for a week, or whatever the case may be, even if they're a superstar, that puts you in an extremely hard situation to run those aspects of the business while you're missing them or trying to replace them. So diversification in terms of hiring people and just putting them into very specialized roles, and so that if they were to leave, you can replace them very quickly, and it doesn't really set your business back. That's a huge lesson that my business partner and I've learned, and we continue to practice to this day.
So earlier today, I was interviewing a potential sales rep for my company, and he said, "Where do you see this business in 3 years?" And I'm like, "What? 3 years? Like, I'm focused on the next 3 weeks and 3 months. I mean, 3 years sounds forever.
Yeah.
It's just so early for me." But you've been at this for 18 months now. I mean, you guys probably have a little bit clarity as to, maybe where you're trying to take this. So, what is the end goal here?
Yes, for sure. I mean, the end goal is to be competing with the Upworks, the larger platforms. That's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to get the brand to that point. But similar to you, we do have very much a focus on the next 3 to 6 months. we found in the past that when you're too focused on, 2, 3, 4 years out in the future, that can be a bad thing for your business and can really slow things down in the immediate term. So what we do is we like to create pretty short-term, like I said, 2 to 3 month action plans, really hammer away at them, get the whole team behind them, and then as you finish those up, create new ones, and always have an idea of where you want to be that year later. But don't spend too much time, worrying about what the future is going to hold. Just keep working hard on a day-to-day basis, and things will create for themselves.
Cool. Orlando, is there any sort of a startup community down there, or is that not why you're there? I mean, are there other reasons to be in Orlando? Most of the people that I talk to on this program or this podcast are Silicon Valley, Boston, LA,
Sure.
The big startup cities. Why did you pick Orlando?
Yeah, of course. So we moved down there just when we graduated, mainly to get a little bit of a change of scenery, and also the cost of living was much lower. We were going to college up in Connecticut in the Northeast, so it was either moving to New York City or one of the surrounding cities where it was going to cost a good amount of money, and we wanted to have that money to continue to grow the business. So Orlando worked out because one of our business partners, the third person on Portlight, was going to get his MBA down there, and so we just kind of went down there with him, looked at the area, and it worked out. There is a startup community there. It's definitely not as big as the larger cities, but it's something that we've gotten pretty involved in and has grown over the past 4 years that we've been here. But there are, like you said, there's definitely more startup and tech communities in these larger cities.
So the real reason isn't that you love Disney World?
No, it is not. I actually I don't go to Disney that often, to be honest. It might be a surprise to some.
You mean paying $50 to go stand in line for 2 hours for a ride isn't intriguing, is it? I've done it. It sucks.
Yeah, I've done it too, but no, that is not attractive.
And definitely don't do it over Christmas break. That is like the worst week of the year to go down there. Made that mistake a couple times to my family.
That's funny.
That's pretty much all I got for you today, Connor. Anything else that we skipped over that you wanted a chance to share or talk about?
Yeah, just one thing. So I also published a book this year that is called FreeeUp Your Business: 50 Secrets to Bootstrap $1 Million Companies. So a lot of the advice that we were talking about today, I kind of poured into this book and also put it together with stories from building Portlight and FreeeUp. So if anyone's interested in learning a little bit more about my story and getting those 50 business tips, definitely go give it a look. It's available at Amazon and also on FreeeUp.com.
Awesome. Yeah, and I see on your website, ConnorGillivan.com, there's a banner ad right here where you can click on it and order a copy too. So, okay, awesome. I'll put that in the show notes. Well, thank you so much, man, today. Really appreciate you sharing all this stuff with us. What's the best way to connect with you online, whether it's email, social media, blog? Whoop, Connor, you there?
Yeah, sorry. So, the best way to get in touch with me is you can email me at connor@connorgillivan.com. You can, of course, go to connorgillivan.com for more advice. And then you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Those are the places where I'm most active.
Perfect. Cool, man. Well, let's stay in touch. Certainly wish you the best moving forward. And I'm sure I'll probably be a customer of FreeeUp in the near future.
Awesome. That sounds great, Jonah. Thanks for having me on today.
You got it, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yep. Bye.